Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
I wanted to tell you first about Dr. Moses. He's an industrial psychologist. He has an MBA from the City University of New York and a PhD from Baylor University. And he's really been in big time. He started at AT&T. He did so many things. And so I am going to just ask you a little bit about this. And I think why it's important, Dr. Moses, is because people need to know the quality of the volunteers at S.C.O.R.E. And you'll be able to talk about that. But first we'll talk about you a little bit. So you were a real professional with doing terrific things for people, and industrial psychologists. Why don't you explain what that is so people don't know? They're not sitting in your office and you're trying to do therapy on them, right?
No, not at all. I'm not a shrink. I'm really involved in helping organizations identify talent, develop talent, coach successful people. We want to take people and make them as effective as possible inside organizations. So that's been my role.
That's been terrific. And so, of course, there comes a time when you've done it for a long time and now you want another career or something. And so this was all up north, and now you decided to come to sunny Florida, right?
Yes.
Have you been disappointed?
No, love it.
Okay, so getting down to business. So someone like you comes to sunny Florida with all your talent, and you say, gee, what am I going to do? I play golf or tennis all the time. I've got to do something. How did you find S.C.O.R.E.?
One of my colleagues in my neighborhood mentioned it to me and said it's an interesting organization. I had not heard about it until then. So I called up the office, set up an appointment, and here I am.
That's history. They
That's
said,
history.
You want to come work with us? Great. Well, tell us a little bit about the S.C.O.R.E. Are you one of how many in the Boca S.C.O.R.E.?
We have 30 counselors in the Boca S.C.O.R.E., but we're part of a much larger organization. There are there are 300 chapters throughout the United States. We're sponsored by the Small Business Administration. We're a resource arm of them. What I'm really proud to say is that the Boca chapter of S.C.O.R.E. has been the winner of the Chapter of the Year award twice, which is really a rare accomplishment. So we're very proud of that. Our potential mentors go through a very intensive provisional period where they spend about 6 months learning our process, working with our more seasoned mentors. We work in teams of 2, which is an unusual thing in S.C.O.R.E., and that provides both a perspective of different kinds of viewpoints, but it also allows us to really provide unusual skills to the clients coming in. We have everything. We have people that are former CEOs, CFOs. I mean, Boca really attracts that kind of talent. But we have people with marketing background, sales background, financial background, and so forth. So we can customize whatever happens in terms of a client's need to the kind of people we have in our office. One other thing I just want to point out, everything we do is free. People come to us. They can come as many times as they want, and we set up an appointment. Usually our appointments are 1 hour. Sometimes we see people on the phone, or in some cases, because I'm on a national registry with S.C.O.R.E., I get people from all around the country calling in to seek our help. So that's fairly typical of what we do. One of the things I think we're proudest of as an organization is that we have a very high return rate. So people just don't come in and then it's one shot and it's over. A lot of people come back the second, third, fourth, fifth time. One of the things we do every year is we have a Business of the Year award. And that's a pretty competitive kind of thing. We're very proud of that. So we do that every year.
I was going to ask you just for a second. Actually, I'll tell you, we have someone watching now, and it's someone I know. It's Dan O'Connell. He's an attorney. He's also retired, but he worked with Governor Graham, and he's quite famous in a lot of things. And he's watching you now. He's a perfect person for S.C.O.R.E., but he's doing so many other things. But I wanted to ask you about your clients. So give me a typical client.
Okay, yesterday, for example, I saw 3 clients. One was a young lady who had a skin care product that she was going to develop. And she had a good background in chemistry and knew a lot of things, and the whole issue of how do I get started, etc. So that was one client. Another client came in, was another young lady who just knocked the socks off us. She's a college student, but really knows what she wants. She's going to open up a firm. She's studying civil engineering, and she's going to open up a firm that deals with expediting permits in cities. It was just a wonderful concept. She knows how to do it. She's very comfortable. She's very, very poised. And so we helped her in terms of what needed to be done to set up her business and so forth. And then the last person we saw yesterday was a very, very interesting person who invented a toy for children. And he took us through a video of what how it was presented. It's a remarkable little invention. And his challenge was, how do I market it? How do I get involved in things like that? So that was yesterday. So you never know what comes in the door.
No, it's amazing. And so people are finding you. How are they finding S.C.O.R.E, actually? I know that's why we're doing the radio show, hopefully to broaden the marketing. But how generally would they know?
There are 2 ways of reaching us. There is a wonderful national website called S.C.O.R.E.org, which is helps you find mentors anywhere in the country. But it also has wonderful examples of training programs and things like that that are online and so forth. In our chapter, you can easily reach us by scoresouthflorida.net. And our phone number is in Boca, 561-981-5180. And if you speak to our unbelievably fantastic administrator, Tegan McKinn, she can actually set you up for an appointment with any of our wonderful counselors.
Okay, that's terrific. So, but what does S.C.O.R.E stand for?
Actually, they want to use the word S.C.O.R.E right now, but the old name was the Service Corps of Retired Executives. You can see now why they just use
Of course.
S.C.O.R.E.
I understand that. And it sounds like when someone goes there, they're going to score big.
Good.
So it's a good name. So these people now have found you, and you gave them advice. There were 2 of you that sat and listened. Mm-hmm. How long does something like that take about?
An hour.
An hour.
Yeah. And then we usually set homework assignments for the individuals. We ask them to come back with whatever we've discussed in the session. And we set up a follow-up date. One of the individuals yesterday, for example, needed some help with QuickBooks. So we have one of our counselors who's a pro in QuickBooks. And so we set up an appointment immediately, and she's getting some easy and good guidance on QuickBooks. And that's typical of how we operate.
This is an amazing situation. So someone doesn't have to write a check. They come there, they get experts from all over the country who have now decided to be here. And I'm not going to call you retired because you're certainly not retired, but to work in a different capacity. Mm-hmm. And this is wonderful. I'm thinking as you're talking, what do I need? I'm going to go there. There's some things that I could get some help with too. So you have people all ages, it sounds like. There'll be retired people themselves who maybe want to start another business. And you have to really, and as a psychologist, which is important, more than sometimes somebody else maybe they were in a different field, you can really analyze what's going on and know if it has any potential. Have you ever had to tell someone you're barking up the wrong tree?
Well, generally our approach is to encourage people. And, you just don't know if an idea is really going to work or not. We ask a lot of questions. What I tell people when they come in, that we tell them, first of all, we have a code of ethics. So we can't get involved in their business in any way, shape, or form. That's the good news. The bad news is that sometimes we give tough love. And that tough love says, maybe you need to do some more thinking and planning associated with it. But generally, it turns out that most of the people are pretty motivated coming in. And it's just encouraging just to help them think through some alternatives, some things they haven't thought about, some approaches, some places they may get some advice, and that's what we're here for. It's just if there's a value system that we have, it's to help people and to encourage them and to really, we want things to be successful. We want people to be successful. One of the things about S.C.O.R.E that's just an interesting data point is that in 2018, nationally, they created 32,000 new businesses.
Come on.
That had 130,000 new jobs. Now, I didn't tabulate these numbers, but this is what our national organization.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's a big boost to the economy and so forth.
Definitely, and I don't think there's been enough said about it. So maybe what you need to do, since you obviously been a writer also, so let's do an article maybe on S.C.O.R.E from what you just said, because I can always go nationally and do that, but why not do it with you since you're right here locally? I don't know if you want to take the time to do that or someone would. Mm-hmm. But I think there are probably so many people that are hungry for your advice.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that.
Now, when you think about it, let's talk. I'm going to move over for one thing because you have a fantastic wife. And the reason I even got to meet you, of course, was our wonderful friend, Dave. Dave, who is so big. Of course, he's the CEO of the PAP Court, and your wife came down here also with lots of talent, and she didn't go to S.C.O.R.E. She decided to do something else. Why don't you tell us about her?
Well, she's a very, very talented lady, and currently she's the president of an organization called the PAP Court, PAP Court. And that's named after Dr. Papanicolaou, who was the first individual to create a diagnostic test for the prevention of cancer. And they're very closely associated with the University of Miami, the Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. In this area, it's Boca and Broward and Palm Beach County, there are 20,000 members. I think there are over 50 chapters, and you really need to talk to my wife to get all the correct information. But it's a very, very active organization that volunteers and works very hard raising funds for cancer research, a very different kind of perspective than the stuff that we do. But we're very excited that Sylvester recently won the National Cancer Institute designation, and it's one of 50 or so hospitals in the whole country that does that. What that does, it brings to South Florida just a phenomenal resource in terms of researchers and quality kinds of activities. So it's a big deal here.
Yes,
so.
I've had someone on the show from them because I'm very impressed. In fact, when I met David Bagelman, the CEO, who is from Boston, I think, and he came down here, and they never really had a CEO because the organization has just been very fluid. All these people are doing their thing to raise money. But he's putting it all together, and of course, he's the one that told me about you, and that's what he does. And he also told me about the Boca Bound. I'm going to plug that a minute, too. That's the new play that is going to be at the Wick Theater. I think it's on, and I've lost the date. I think it's, I don't remember. I don't have it in my hand. Anyway, but Boca Bound is something that the PAP Court, the ladies, are going to share the profits,
right?
And it's a wonderful thing. I agree with you. Okay, well, it's nice to have a wife who is very busy and she's doing her thing, and now you're doing your thing. So let's think about this. Have you ever had anyone who came to S.C.O.R.E, at least in your knowledge, who really thought they wanted to put on a play? They were a playwright. Because I was thinking about that. These people that have now decided to do this, I mean, that would have been a perfect thing. It was in their head. It was an idea. Would they have come to S.C.O.R.E? No.
Probably not.
Because they wanted to go to someone who's in that field, wouldn't they?
Exactly. And then it's not a business. It's a talent that they have to do this. But setting up, we're focused on helping organizations or helping individuals create businesses and be successful that way. So this is more of an individual kind of task. And we really don't have anybody that's competent to help with that. So
you never know. Someone's listening there.
Yeah.
But you said create. So let's say I've been in business for 30 years. Would I come there because I have some concerns and problems?
Sure.
Oh, so it doesn't mean that you have to be a...
Businesses go through 3 different life cycles. There's a startup phase. And in a startup phase, that's sometimes there's a high failure rate unless you do things right. If they make it through that startup phase, then there's a general phase of expansion and growth. That's usually the largest phase of a business life cycle. And finally, the last phase is a turnaround phase. That's the phase where there usually is a lot of early warning signals that things are not going so well, and it's time to really readjust. So we can get people coming in their business cycle with any one of those problems or issues, and how can we help them think through what needs to be done?
And you can do this in 1 hour?
No. No, we can do it over many hours. So we welcome them back. Okay, again, they can come back as many
They have
times.
homework.
Yeah, sure. But I would say the majority of our clients are either startup businesses or businesses that have been in business for a while but want to grow some more. Those would be typical.
Okay, so let me tell everybody, my guest is Dr. Joel Moses, and his profession is as an industrial psychologist. Took him all over. He worked for huge companies, and now he and his wife have moved to Boca Raton, and they wanted to do something that was very valuable to them. And as a typical elder with lots of talent, I've always felt it was a waste for people just to play golf and to go out and have their dinners and they had fun, but there's got to be more than that. And I just think that you are really on the right course being involved with S.C.O.R.E. And I see something else that I'm just going to ask you about this. I see that you served as chairman of the board of the Medic Alert Foundation.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Medic Alert is the bracelet company.
Right.
Where we had a 24-hour hotline with nurses on call. And if anyone had a problem, and they were part of our database, your ambulance drivers and your physicians in emergency rooms could contact our headquarters, which is in California, and get all sorts of information about what drugs you were taking, what any special problems that you have, etc. It's a wonderful little organization. So
it's not so little anymore, right?
No,
but
it's international.
Yes, so you've been involved in things like this, so it makes sense. And so anyone who's meeting with you, I can see, is very fortunate that all your experience you have in your hand, in a sense, and you can probably see so quickly what's going on. And when you described these 3 people who came to you, it sounded like you were very excited because you saw something really good there.
Oh, it's fun, yeah. One other thing I would add about what we do, we also sponsor workshops. And you can
I've been to some of the workshops.
Right, you can go on our website, and we sponsor them, either co-sponsored by one of our sponsors, that's how we raise some funds, or we do it ourselves. And we do it either in our facility, which is right next to the Wick Theater on Federal Highway, or at a
location. University or something, because that's where I've seen you at Lynn University.
We've had a nice relationship with Lynn, with FAU, and so forth. So, we're very active in the community. And
you do attract a lot of people. I know that Google sponsored a few things. I mean, it's really very exciting that you do this, but I can see that...
Well, let me just interrupt you. It's not me.
I know.
There's a very talented group of people that have national reputations, that it's easy to make those kinds of connections, and that's how we're successful.
And so you said that there are 30 of you. Yeah. Can you have more?
Oh, yeah.
So it's not limited to 30, but at the time there's 30.
That's a good number for us.
And do you have meetings between all of you?
Yes. Yeah, we have monthly meetings where we just cover what's going on, where we talk about what our strategies are, what new initiatives we're thinking about doing. And we talk about different clients that really have knocked the socks off.
So, have you? I know you gave me the estimate of 32,000 businesses. I think you said or was 100,000.
There were
130,000 new jobs.
Right.
but 32,000
new businesses nationwide.
Right. So, do you know of anything here locally in Boca? You've been doing this how many years? I think you said 2 or 3.
Personally,
with
I've been
S.C.O.R.E?
involved in the S.C.O.R.E. 5 years, but
5
our
years.
chapter's been involved for about 30 years.
Okay, but for you personally, have you seen anyone that you and your team have helped, and now they're functioning very well? You have?
Sure. A lot of them. I'm just for proprietary reasons. I'm not going to go into them. But we have, our business of the year usually is a very, very successful organization, and it's just absolutely thrilling. We have an annual luncheon. They come to the luncheon. They come back. They participate in delivering workshops for us and so forth. So it's a very communal kind of organization. What probably makes it more pleasurable for me personally is I really like all the people there. They're really a nice group of men and women who volunteer. They really don't want anything back other than they want to help in the community. It's just a pleasure working with them.
So you said that there's actually, and this is very important for people listening, and of course they're listening from all over South Florida. So even though we're talking about Boca, there is one up in West Palm, and I think you said there's probably one in Miami. And so you want to go, and if this means anything, do you look up S.C.O.R.E? And I will give you the phone number here in Boca. They'll help you. It's 561-981-5180. So there's no money that changes hands.
Exactly. Ever.
Okay, but you did say in order for you to pay for your building, and you must have an executive director.
No.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay.
We have a wonderful administrator.
Administrator. So but he must get paid.
She. Yeah.
Okay. How do you raise the funds for that? You have sponsors?
Yeah, we have sponsors. We're also partially sponsored by the Small Business Administration.
Oh, you said that,
so
right.
They help out a little. But we run our workshops, and a number of our sponsors are very generous in terms of providing us with some funds. So that keeps us in business.
Right. Keeps you in business and keeps you helping people. How young can someone come and talk to you? Have you had someone really young with an idea?
Yes, absolutely. We've had very young people. One of the things we co-sponsored for a while was an initiative, Young Entrepreneurs Program, which we co-sponsored with the Chamber of Commerce in Boca, which took 7th and 8th and 9th graders, exposed them to business concepts. So they had to learn what an elevator speech was, for example. They had to learn how to make a presentation. They had to learn what the basics of a business plan might look like. And a lot of them come in with great, crazy ideas, and some of them are successful. One of our students a couple of years ago actually made the Shark Tank.
Oh, really? Oh, no, that's exciting.
Yeah. So,
and do you think that's something you recommended?
No.
But they did get on Shark Tank, and then what happened? Were they funded? Do you know?
I think they were not funded, but they got a lot of publicity and did very well because of it. So yeah.
No, that's funny.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah. So let's go to something like that, the Shark Tank. What do you think about this? You don't even want to go there.
It's an interesting concept, but you have to realize there's a television camera right on top of you, and you think it's natural. It's really not. It's a staged activity.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
I'm sure it's impromptu in that sense, but it's really not as natural as they make it out to be. It's good business, good show business. But it's not something I watch regularly.
But I think in my opinion, what was good is that when someone thinks they have an idea, they better be able to back it up with financing and everything that's very
and
important.
A lot of preparation in terms of how to convince your investors or potential investors in a very short period of time that what you have is unusual, particularly if you have a jaded panel that's been exposed to so many other things in the past. So yeah, it's difficult.
Well,
that's what entertainment's like.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
So you did great. Well, it's a wonderful thing. So I want to thank David Bagelman for helping, who's the CEO of the PAP Court, for bringing us Dr. Joel Moses. And Dr. Moses, I have to tell you, you are special, and I know that people who are listening who need some help like this, if you're one of many that have your education background and your vision, and I think enthusiasm. That's what I find so impressive about you. So let's
I am typical of all the people that are there. I'm not
Amazing.
that special.
Okay,
Really.
you're not that special. Okay. And so we really thank you for being here. Call them at 561-981-5180. And the woman there, their administrator, will put you, get an appointment or whatever they need to do. So thank you for being here with us.
You're more than welcome.